Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, peopleofdistinction.org for more info, or you can always email me directly at benji@alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have Sam P. Distefano. We'll be discussing his wonderful book, Swing Away, available for purchase through Amazon as well as barnesandnoble.com. And listen, Sam was brought to our network, People of Distinction, today by some of the best movers in the business. Author Reputation Press Publishing. So if you have a book that you'd like moved, give yourself the best gift you can possibly give and contact ARP. And you can find out more information on them at authorreputationpress.com. And guys, listen, it is an absolute pleasure to have Sam here on the line. Now, the moment you go to his Amazon page, you go to his Barnes & Noble page, you start to do any research on his book, Swing Away, you instantly understand what we're going to be discussing. Now, it's a fictional narrative, so it's created for the emphasis on entertainment. But just because it's a fictional narrative doesn't mean that there isn't a wonderful message underneath. And guys, that underlying message, that underlying theme is something that we can all relate to. It's one of the oldest messages in the book, one of the oldest cliches in the book, no pun intended. Don't judge a book by its cover, right? How many of us have heard that phrase? It's one of the first things that we learned. But guys, it's so true. At the end of the day, you never understand and you never fully can grasp the battles that each individual is fighting on their own, or behind the scenes, rather. Right? You only get to see what's on the surface level, what people show you, but behind the scenes, they may be battling their own demons that you know nothing about. I love that message. And listen, Sam is the expert. Okay, he's written the book, he's done the research, and he's going to be able to articulate everything much better than I ever could. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Sam, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you so much for being a guest with us today. How are you?
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we're very much looking forward to this, and looking forward to, having another book to add to the shelf. Right? Getting away from the day-to-day monotony that has become this COVID living situation, and really being able to journey upon that. But also that underlying message, man, I think it's something that is so profound and something that really needs to be on everyone's shelf. But Sam, before we go into the book, let's hold off slightly. Start by telling our listening audience a little bit more about yourself and your background, please.
Okay. Before I even got into writing, for the longest time, I was heavy into fitness. I still am. I work out 5 days a week. I was a personal trainer for a while. I did that for a living back in 2000 for a few years, and I technically still am. Just for whatever reason, I just didn't feel like I was getting much out of it. It's not that I didn't like it, I just didn't feel like I was getting fulfilled from it. And after a while, I went to work at a company my father worked at for a while. I felt like I was just kind of going there every day to get a paycheck. I didn't feel like, I was doing anything that meant anything to me. And then one day I just decided, I've always liked to write. When I was in school, we had to write short stories. My teachers always said, you got a great imagination, you got a unique writing style. But at the time, I didn't understand what that meant. I just kind of said, all right, whatever. And then I just decided one day I'm going to start writing. It's what I want to do. It's what I always wanted to do. I always wanted to entertain people, tell stories. I'm a daydreamer. That's the best way I can describe it. I've been a daydreamer my whole life. I remember daydreams I had when I was 5 years old, characters I created in my head. So I just wanted to get a lot of that stuff out on paper, and hopefully people find it entertaining, and that's where we are right now.
Absolutely.
Best way I could describe it.
Fantastic. Sam, sticking with the concept of inspiration, since we're starting there. So, of course, your background, again, as you said, you categorize yourself as a dreamer, right? Vivid imagination.
Yeah.
Teachers have told you that in the past, so you knew that you're a creative type already. But with regards to writing, Were there artists, were there authors that inspired you? Talk to us a little bit more about where that love for creative writing comes from.
I don't have like a favorite author, but I've read a lot of books from a lot of different people, and I just like the fact that you can create, your own worlds and your own people. It's almost kind of therapeutic to sit there and write. Like, I find when I'm sitting down writing that nothing else matters. I feel very calm, very relaxed. I just enjoy doing it. I mean, I don't have a favorite author, but I've read tons of books from different people. I just pick stuff based on, what it's about. That's how I pick, certain books. So as far as people that inspire, I mean, I think they all inspire me. I think any writer, anybody who sits down and writes a book, to me, that's inspiration to me. If you can do it, I commend you for that. That's my inspiration.
Sam, we'll step away from inspiration slightly so we can jump right into the book. We'll touch back up on that in a little bit. But the anchor for today's interview, Sam, is all about Swing Away. Tell us a little bit more about your book.
This book is basically about a softball pitcher in high school, a girl, obviously, who has been sexually and mentally abused her entire life. But she is pretty much gotten passed by her looks. She's like really a beautiful girl. And I think there's a lot of stereotype about real pretty girls. They get everything handed to them, and everything's easy for them. And for my character, whose name is Ashley, it's just not what it's been like. Her mother is in jail. She don't know who her father is, but she has a talent for softball, and that's what she like. That's kind of like her comfort thing, and she wants to get good at the sport as she can. She wants to get a scholarship, get out of this town she's living in. Hopefully, that and she meets a coach that's pretty much almost has the same type of deal, fighting his own demons. He used to be a Major League Baseball player. He got injured twice, blew out both his knees. He can't play anymore. That sent him down a road to drinking and gambling. Now he's gets a coaching job for Ashley's team, and he's trying to bring himself back to normal life. And they just kind of bond with each other, and it's just one of those things. It's a different take. I mean, there's a lot of twists. There's a lot of side stories and stuff like that. But that's basically the best way I can describe it, without giving too much away.
Now, Sam, getting back into inspiration, but now honing it in specifically to this particular narrative, what inspired you to create this? Because, I mean, listen, the subject matter, of course, can be pretty challenging. I mean, we're talking about some serious stuff here. So talk to us about what inspired you and where did the idea for this narrative come from?
I think it kind of hits close to home, if I can say that without going any further than that. Not to me, but I know someone personally that kind of went through something like this. And so I just thought that I think people should understand that what they're going through is kind of serious. Shouldn't be taken lightly, and you got to kind of see the warning signs and stuff like that. But yeah, without getting too deep into it, it's someone I know. This affected them, and
right.
I just wanted to get it out there in a way where, not saying I'm this is dedicated to somebody, but it's just something I've always thought that I think people should understand that this is a serious matter. It probably happens all the time, like way too much more than people realize.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times it's kept, swept under the rug and nobody even knows about it.
Sam, thank you very much for going there. And listen, this follow-up question I think is important. But of course, as you said, we don't want to go into too much detail, and we want to try to stay away and respect your personal space with regards to this. But I think this next question is really profound. Knowing the subject matter behind your book, and as dark as it is, guys, let's call a spade a spade. There are a lot of people, unfortunately, that find themselves in sexually or mentally abusive situations. Now, in this instance, the protagonist is a high school student. That happens to high school students, but it also happens to adults. So this is something that the world we live in, unfortunately, there are a lot of people that probably can relate to some of the circumstances being discussed. So, Sam, I want to take this opportunity for anybody out there that's listening in that either A, finds themselves in a situation where they are being sexually or mentally abused, or B, someone that knows someone else that finds themselves in this dark situation. Given your personal experience, given research that you may have come across, what words of wisdom can you offer to someone listening in that finds themselves in an equally difficult situation?
Don't give up. Dark as it seems, sometimes there's, if you keep fighting, there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes answers show up when you least expect it, and you just can't give up. Got to keep moving forward.
I love it. Listen, guys, no matter how dark or bleak the situation may be, keeping your head down and continuing to chip away and push forward. Promise you, the light is there at the end of the tunnel. As dark as it may seem in the moment, continuing to fight and get through is always the option, right? I love that. Thank you very much for sharing, Sam. Guys, again, here on the line with Sam P. Distefano. We're discussing his wonderful book, Swing Away, available for purchase through Amazon as well as barnesandnoble.com. Sam, next question that I'd love to get into. What would you say was a highlight for you in writing the book? Or if not a highlight, because highlight maybe is the wrong word to use since it is dealing with such dark subject matter, maybe if not a highlight, something that surprised you, either in writing this book or a culmination of the entire journey that you weren't expecting before you began on it?
Oh, that's a good question. The fact that how much I actually enjoyed writing it, even though it's real dark material and stuff like that. I think the fact that how I got the book to end, and just the way I, skillfully, rooted through all the stuff to get to where I wanted the book to go. I just enjoyed writing it, and enjoyed how it came out. It actually put a smile on my face. There was a lot of times when I was writing it, I just felt relieved in a way, just like the character did. But yeah, I just think just writing it, set out to write it, whole journey through writing it, and how it ended.
Who is your intended audience, and what are you hoping to see them do or take from your book?
I think the audience is just, I would say, anybody interested in reading, fiction. And I would hope that people that are going through this would read the book and kind of find inspiration from it. Like I said, that there is light at the end of the tunnel. There's always help for you if you seek it out, or let people that are there to help you, let them help you. But as far as like you asked, I think it's anybody could pretty much read it. I would think. I mean, within reason. I think teenagers to adults.
And what's next for you, Sam? Is there a sequel to this book on the horizon? Do you have another narrative that you're in the process of putting together? Talk to us a little bit more of what's next.
Yeah, I'm writing another book right now that again deals with teenage girl, but in a completely different situation. Not, doesn't deal with sexual or mental abuse, but to not give too much away, this narrative that deals with someone who's basically like a bully, sells drugs, is a troublemaker, and it's basically a redemption story, the stuff she goes through, down the line. So, without giving too much away, that's basically what that'll be about. But yeah, I got another one in the works, so hopefully it'll be another type of story where people can find inspiration from it.
Absolutely. Listen, I have no doubt that they will. Guys, I love it, okay? And you know what I love even more is we're at the end of the interview now, and we have discussed so much information, and yet we've barely scratched the surface somehow. I mean, there's still so much left to be discovered. You know what you have to do. I'm going to say it for you once more, even though I know I don't have to, but let's re-impress it once again. Here on the line with Sam P. Distefano. We just finished discussing his wonderful book, Swing Away, available for purchase through Amazon as well as barnesandnoble.com. But make sure you're checking in frequently because, as Sam just said, there's another book in the process of being created right now that'll be on the horizon very soon. You surely will not be disappointed. A journey for you to take that, yes, may be dark at times, but guys, let's never think for 1 second that these things aren't actually happening. And when you realize that, when you recognize that, it heightens the stakes. And there's a fantastic education that can be received through that raising of your awareness. So head on over there and pick up your copy today. Sam, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you once again for being a guest with us on People of Distinction.
Thank you, sir. I had fun.